Hello everyone and welcome to D Teaches. I knew you would be back. If you're new to this channel, you get a special welcome.
You're welcome.
And I really hope that you stick around. In today's video lesson, I'm not going to teach you any grammar, but I will be drawing your attention to some vocabulary throughout the whole video. As the title says, if you want to learn more about the US or plan to travel there anytime soon, or maybe after the pandemic is over, this video will be useful for you. Before I get to the point, let me tell you that I'm not an American citizen. I haven't spent the majority of my life there, but I have lived there for quite some time, discovering the US American culture. So this video is based on my experiences and my knowledge. Let's get to it. Fact number 1, tips. Tips are kind of mandatory in the United States, but not by law. It's common to leave a tip of about 15–20% of the bill. The reason for this is probably because waiters and waitresses earn very little money as a base salary, so the majority of their money comes from tips. In some states, waiters and waitresses only have to earn about $2 or $3 per hour, which is insane. That's another word for crazy. Whereas in other jobs, the minimum wage is $7 per hour. So that's a very big difference. And keep in mind that leaving tips is a socially acceptable thing in the United States. And if you don't leave a tip at a restaurant, it's a social faux pas. Faux pas is a French word that means your behavior is awkward or offensive or strange for the society. So be prepared for the people to look down on you if you don't leave a generous tip, because when you leave a tip, you kind of help a waiter or a waitress to earn a survivable wage. Fact number 2, free water. Speaking of restaurants, it's pretty cool that you can go to any restaurant and you will be served water for free before you start your meal. Or in places like Starbucks, you can simply ask for a glass of water and you'll be given one free of charge. I have lived in many countries in Europe, Asia, North America, and free water wherever you go is an exclusively American thing. I'm not a water expert, so I don't really know why the water in the US is free, but I really love it. Fact number 3, a car is a must in the US. This could also be true for some other large countries like Canada, Australia, Russia, Brazil, Argentina. But in the case of the US, according to what I know, towns were built around the time when an automobile was created. So let's say in 1900s. So it's fair to say that towns and cities were built for cars and not for people. Also, talking about cars, in the US you can get your driver's license when you're 16 years old. It's generally seen as a rite of passage. So when teenagers finally get their driver's license, they feel freedom and independence. They can finally drive around the city or the town and pick up their friends, hang out. It's like the biggest thing you do as a teenager, because you need a car for anything in the US, unless you're living in New York City or Washington, D.C. Fact number 4, metrication in the US. Believe it or not, but the United States is the only industrialized country that still doesn't use the metric system as the predominant system of measurement. So concepts like meter, liter, kilogram are quite foreign to an average American. Instead, they use words like ounces, gallon, inch, mile, and others. Also, they understand temperature in Fahrenheit, not in Celsius. For example, what's the weather like in Miami today? It's 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 25 degrees Celsius. I know it's really confusing, but if you want to go to the United States, be prepared to hear these words. If you're particularly interested in learning more about the metrication system in the US, let me know in the comments and I will make such a video. Fact number 5, funny questions in the US visa application. I find it really interesting and unusual that when you're filling in the non-immigrant visa application form, you're asked quite ridiculous questions. For example, are you planning to participate in money laundering when you go to the US? Or are you coming to the US to engage in unlawful commercialized vice? Or do you intend to provide financial help to terrorists? Are you a communist? Something like, do you belong to a communist party, which is quite random. And the funniest one was, are you coming to the US to practice polygamy? And many other strange questions that just make you laugh, you know. I don't know much about criminals, but I believe that people that have bad intentions when they're coming to the US are not going to answer these questions honestly. But for some reason, the American government makes all of the tourists promise that they're not gonna commit any crimes, which is pretty cool, but no other country does that, as far as I know. So that's it for today. Here are your 5 facts about the United States that you probably didn't know before. I really hope you enjoyed learning something new. I've got more facts on my mind, actually. So if you want more content like this about the US or some other country that I've lived in, let me know in the comments and I will create some more videos of this nature. Like always, if you enjoyed this video lesson, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. Bye bye! Oh, and before you go, what was the most surprising thing that you learned about the US today? Let me know in the comments.